you guys. You guys, I want to go ahead and get started. Before I get started, I want to play something to you, for you, because Azriel, and what I don't know her last name, Azriel, oh, let's see, what is her last name here? Azriel Clary is one of the victims. And I'm going to play a little bit of the video that Gail King interviewed her on this morning on CBS. I'll play a little bit of that. I may need to fast forward it. It's really not done in a clean manner, but I do want to show it to you. So here it goes. I'm going to try to share it with you here. The first time I listened to it, I didn't hear the words or the language. I watched it because I wanted to look at her nonverbals. Her nonverbals were kind of very off to me. This morning, as I was getting ready and watching the television in my room, I was looking at her, and her nonverbals immediately were very off to me. Everything that I say here, with the exception of my own commentary and reviews and opinions and thought processes, everything else is alleged. My own thought processes, the information I communicate to you are of my own thoughts in many points of this video, of this vlog. So if you hear me stating my opinion is just my thought process. It has nothing to do with the facts of the R. Kelly case. So what I'm about to state to you now are my opinions and my thought processes on Azriel Clary's nonverbals. And they are very isolated. I will tell you this, but I want you to just watch the video first, okay? Let's see, where can I find it? Make sure I get it here. Okay, there it is right there. So I'm going to share my screen with you and I'm going to play the video. Let me know if you cannot hear the audio. Let's see. Here it is.
A jury convicted Kelly this week of 9 charges. Now, 5 of those related to crimes committed against her, including transporting a minor across state lines to engage in sexual activity. Clary, who is now 23 years old, says Kelly abused her verbally and physically for years. The first time we met her, she was 21 years old and she was still living with R. Kelly. We spoke with her again yesterday. It's her first interview since the trial. Come on in, Azriel.
I'm going to fast forward
good.
this.
Thank you.
I'll just start with this. I'm really glad to see you again because I wasn't sure I'd ever get to talk to you.
Very happy to be here and see you again as well.
It feels like a full circle moment to me. When we first met Azriel Clary in March of 2019, she had been living with R. Kelly for almost 5 years and was one of his fiercest supporters.
Because you guys don't know the truth. You guys are believing some facade that our parents are saying. This is all lies for money.
Clary and another woman, Joycelyn Savage, told us then that they were in a relationship with the embattled R&B singer. But Clary left the apartment she shared with Kelly in Chicago 7 months after our interview.
I was lost and I felt invisible, and I gave someone that control over me to basically make me do whatever it was that they wanted me to do and act however they wanted me to act.
During R. Kelly's trial, she testified that he began sexually.
Okay, you guys, I can only share a certain amount of that video. That is a CBS video. Whenever CBS does the news in the morning, Gail King is on air with them, and she was revealing some information she learned from her. I don't want to have any copyright strikes or anything like that. But that is just a part of the interview. Um, you can go online and you can get the interview. All you have to do is Google it and it will come up, and you can view it on Google. You can view it on Bing. You can view it on Yahoo. It is all over the internet. I was looking at it initially. I muted my TV, and her nonverbals struck me because they seemed so unreal. Her, and I wasn't listening to the content that she was saying. And my opinion, my process, my thought process is isolated from a multitude of people out there. A lot of people have a difference of thought process when it comes to Azriel Clary. My thought process is you knew what you were doing, and for some reason, she's trying to protect herself right now. That is what her nonverbals gave to me. And I'm someone who has not followed this case. I have not followed the case. I am not familiar with it. I just started listening to it and paying close attention to it with Tasha K, and I was in and out on it. Because I had unsubscribed to Tasha K at one point, and I know she has very strong opinions, and she herself has interviewed um, Azriel and the other young lady, Jocelyn, I think her name is. See, this goes to show how much I know, really. However, as an objective person, I muted the TV, and her nonverbal seemed to me, in my thought process, her nonverbals were somewhat deceptive. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That is all I'm going to say about that. I listened to it again with her verbals, and they still seemed deceptive, many of them. It appeared as though she's trying to protect herself from something. And I may need to do a little more research. I've only started really listening to the case because in a previous video, I made a comment that I thought that R. Kelly only deserved 3 years and he needed some very intense therapeutic work. That is what I stated in my video. And upon doing further research, I have learned additional information that has caused me to retract that statement. In this video, I'm retracting it until I learn more information. And one of the key factors for me is looking at the transcript and also looking at other videos. There is a plethora of information out here. I have even listened to the lead attorney's show and what he has to say about it. And I have some concerns about this case, you guys. I have some really, I have some, I'm kind of two-sided because on one end, I have very strong feelings about what he has experienced as a human being in life. And I know that our experiences and our connection with people with whom we are raised around greatly determine how we view life as we move forward. I know that. And he himself has had some tragedies. I believe, and my thought process is, he inflicted some of his own tragedies onto other human beings, which in my thought process makes me think he was not completely and thoroughly aware of some of the consequences that he was causing to these individuals. That's what I'm thinking. And Shadow Blog, I expect that. I respect what you're saying. I'm not what's wrong with America, though. Get over that. Um, I am I'm very concerned about the victims. I'm very concerned about the victims, but I'm also kind of two-sided with it because I don't have all of the information. If you are going to come on here and you are going to ambush me because of my thought process after I have told you that I have not done the research and that I am concerned about people, and you're going to do this to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to block you. So there, you're not going to do that to me after I have shared with you that I'm not thoroughly aware of the entirety of this case, and I have some opinions that are isolated from the majority of even Black Americans about this case. I really do. And I want to read something to you. As I stated to you earlier, I'm going to come back on here and read more of this transcript and share it with you. Before I do that, though, I want to share with you where I got it from. Um, let's see here. This is a place. Let me go ahead and share it with you just because I want to share with you my source, and that way you can go look at it yourself as well and follow along as I come over here and talk to you about the case. Let's see here. Here it is. This is, wait a minute, this is not it. Sorry, let me stop sharing. That's not it. Sorry. Okay, where did it go? I left that up for a reason. Okay, here it is right here. My apologies, you guys. I'm going to try to share this one more time. Okay, where is it? Okay, this is not it. I'm thinking this is it. Okay, it is. Okay, so I'm going to share the transcript, but I wanted to let you know where I got it from. I got it from Court Listener. This is the website. It's https://guides.loc.gov/free-case-law-court listener. And it is connected with the Library of Congress. It is a legal database operated by the Free Law Project. It's a nonprofit organization whose stated mission includes providing free, public, and permanent access to primary legal materials on the internet. The case law content of Court Listener is similar to other free online databases, including the United States Supreme Court opinions from as far back as 1791 to the present, the United States Federal Appellate Court opinions, 1920s to present, the United States Federal District Court and Bankruptcy Court opinions, coverage dependent on district, United States State Supreme and Appellate Court opinions, coverage dependent on state. I'm not going to read the rest of this. I just wanted to show you where I did receive the information so that you would know who is Pick Misha? Someone said, now check that Pick Misha. Who is that? What is Pick Misha? I've never heard of that. Oh, this is the same troll. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share this other part with you about, I'm going to share maybe 5 points of the transcript with you. Okay, let's see here. I hope this is it. I'm not sure, but let's see. Nope, that's not it. Sorry. Let me stop sharing. I cannot get it together. Let's see, government U.S. courts. Government U.S. courts. Just bear with me here while I get this together here. Okay. Exactly. I have no viewers, but I do have you. You keep coming on with different names. You keep coming on with different names. So why are you here? if you do not agree with me, you can leave. I'm about to report you to YouTube, unless you are YouTube. You keep signing up in different names and coming on here and saying the same thing. I'm going to block you. So you can move on. Okay? Let's see here. This is it. Okay, so I'm going to get ready and share this with you. I'm sorry, you guys. I have a troll here who is will not go away, so I'm going to report them because you're not going to do that to me. So let's make sure. Okay, I hope this is it. Okay, here it is. So this is the transcript that you can find on Court Listener. And it says United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, United States of America against Robert Sylvester Kelly, also known as R. Kelly, defendant. And these are the numbers associated with the case right here. It's the Brooklyn office. This is June 20th, 2019. That's the date. But this is what happens. There's something in the law called RICO. And just to share with you what it means, a RICO charge is the Racketeer, it stands for Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. And from what I understand, as I was listening to the lead attorney, this is one of the charges that he has been convicted on. The RICO Act was designed to combat organized crime in the United States, and it allows prosecutors and civil penalties for racketeering activity performed as part of an ongoing enterprise or organizational criminal organization. So I wanted to explain that because that's something that keeps coming up in the news, is the RICO Act, right? This is what he's been convicted of. And this is what they wrote in 2019 in his trial. It says here, this is what is really supporting the RICO, this number one right here. I'm not an attorney. Let me share with you, I'm not an attorney. This is why I'm trying to do this from scratch so that I can see what is going on in totality with R. Kelly. At all times relevant to this indictment unless otherwise indicated, says the enterprise. It says here, number one, the defendant, Robert Sylvester Kelly, also known as R. Kelly, and individuals who served as managers, bodyguards, drivers, personal assistants, and runners for Kelly, as well as members of Kelly's entourage, comprised an enterprise, the enterprise, within the meaning of 18 U.S.C. 1961, 4, that is, the enterprise constituted a group of individuals associated in fact that was engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce. The enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the enterprise. So when I was on the lead attorney's channel, a lot of people kept using the terminology enterprise and this terminology RICO. And I thought, let me look into this and see what is going on. So this is the enterprise. So right now, what is going on is they have found R. Kelly guilty of RICO, right? However, a lot of people are saying, how can he be guilty of RICO when he is the only individual? Well, as you can see here, back in 2019, on June 20th, they named the enterprise. So right now, they only have R. Kelly, Robert Sylvester Kelly, going through the trial process. Eventually, what it looks like, according to this document in this number one item, they are going to eventually get the people who served as managers, bodyguards, drivers, personal assistants, and runners, as well as members of Kelly's entourage, an entourage covers, it runs a gamut. It can be anyone who was in his entourage. You guys, and even the lady who Tasha K recently interviewed. Okay? Because Tasha K did a beautiful interview with someone else who was a part of his entourage, and she was the nutritionist. So they have used this term entourage to cover themselves in case there's anyone else. And this is where they come up with the term enterprise. Now, I could be wrong. As I shared with you, this is my thought process as I am reading this information. And all of everything I'm saying is alleged. I am not an attorney. I have never worked in law. I'm very familiar with the law as a person of this society, but I've never worked in it. And on this case, I'm certainly not an expert. I'm just trying to start from scratch and look at it because I had some opinions about it, and my opinions didn't match the opinions of the majority of the people that I am hearing. So I wanted to look into it to see, okay, am I going wrong somewhere? What's happening? Because I have a very strong opinion about it, and I will share that with you shortly. So, number 2, it says the purposes of the enterprise were to promote R. Kelly's music and the R. Kelly brand, and to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal, I can't say this word on YouTube, but you can read it right there, activity with Kelly by promoting R. Kelly's music and the R. Kelly brand. The members of the enterprise expected to receive financial opportunities and personal benefits, including increased power and status within the enterprise. This number 2, to me, that's scary. They are saying the people that they've just named in number 1 were acting out these duties in number 2. That lets me know that anyone involved with R. Kelly during this time frame is at risk, and they need to be hiring some attorneys. As early as 2019, they should have been hiring some attorneys, you guys. I don't know why people do not look at previous cases to see that these are the examples that the law uses to determine how they are going to move forward. That's why they are called precedents. Okay, this is not really a precedented case because these laws were outlined, ahead of time. However, he is being set as the example. And I want to pause and say, and you're not going to agree with me, the FBI and law enforcement always use Black men as an example. When have you ever known a white male to go through this right here? They are very lenient on their own culture. And I'm not saying that to say that R. Kelly was right, because he definitely was in the wrong in this case. At the same time, I'm going to stick to my guns and say R. Kelly needs some deep therapy because of his lack of education and also because of his own upbringing where he was assaulted as a child. And I do believe what happened as he got older, whatever happened to him as a child became natural, and he began putting that off onto other females. And some of it may have been the rage in him that his own sister would molest him. Because when he looked around at other people and he saw other people, he knew that that was not normal. And the fact that his own sister did that to him. So I digress. I'm going to go on to number 3. In connection with the enterprise, Kelly and other members of the enterprise traveled throughout the United States and abroad to perform at concert venues, to promote the R. Kelly brand, and to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kelly. Do you know what this 3 is setting the standard for? Trafficking. It is setting they have set him up for trafficking individuals because it says he traveled abroad. And you guys, I'm saying this in my own humble opinion, and I'm going to say this probably more times than you want to hear it. I am not an attorney. I have not studied law other than the courses I had to take in college, which were decades ago. I am not an attorney, okay? And I only had to take legal courses due to my major. It required me to have business law, media law, and law and ethics. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 says when Kelly attended and performed at concerts and other events, Kelly and or members of the enterprise on Kelly's behalf invited women and girls backstage and to other events following Kelly's live performances. These women and girls were often offered wristbands that signified that they were authorized to attend an event. I want to pause here and say what he should have done right then and there was had a trustworthy party in his entourage to check ID to make sure those women were 21 and older, not even 18 nowadays. 18 to me, still, you're just getting out of high school. 21 and older. I say this, you guys, also, if you look at number 4, this is nothing that Bruce Springsteen, allegedly, the Grateful Dead, allegedly, what are some other performers? A lot of performers allow young girls backstage. A lot of performers do that. I myself have been backstage with other friends. A lot of and at the time, I'm not even going to tell you my age, but I had not graduated high school. I was with my sister and some of her friends who had graduated high school, but I had not graduated high school. A lot of performers do this. There, Kelly relied upon members of the enterprise to ensure that only those authorized to attend were allowed at the event and to manage the flow of women and girls who were directly interacting with Kelly. That statement right there, as an entertainer, why would you entrust that upon the members of your entourage who are probably as who don't really care that much about you, quite frankly? You guys, people love to say, oh, I have a lot of friends, I have this friend, I have that one, I have this one and that one. I'm going to tell you, I have literally 2 friends, and only one of them I can go to with everything. The other one I don't, trust a lot, but I love her nonetheless. Um, and one of them has passed away. I have more than 2 friends, but there are 2 that I actually trust, and talk to a lot more, although I love all of them. And I'm saying that to make the point that he relied upon people that he more than likely had not grown up with, did not know that well. And even some of the people you grow up with, if they are jealous or envious of you, you can't trust them. They're not going to care that much about you. And they don't really care if you go to jail or not. Number 5, when Kelly identified a woman or girl who he wished to see again, he either gave his contact information to the woman or girl, or obtained her contact information, or relied upon members of the entourage to do so. Following these events, Kelly communicated with certain of these women and girls by telephone, including through the use of traditional telephone calls, text messages, iMessages, and FaceTime. As part of this communication, Kelly often requested that the women and girls provide him with photographs of themselves. I don't know what you all think about 1 through 5. I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of it later. I cannot do it tonight because I'm trying to prepare. Um, I have some other plans, and so I'm not going to be able to just go through this tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing it with you. I want to say this, that Kelly, in that verse 5, I mean, not verse, I keep saying verse like I'm reading my Bible. You can tell I read my Bible all the time because I'm always talking verses in scripture. In the number 5, though, that lets me know that, and this was all in 2019. This was the indictment in 2019. We're now in 2021. So the FBI and the law enforcement have been working on this for a while. I would even say more than a decade, because I remember when we lived in Atlanta, and the Frank Ski Morning Show had a report about R. Kelly and some other things that were happening in a video where he urinated on a female. And I remember them talking about that in detail, and somehow he ended up not doing time for that. I want to say that this number 5, though, lets me know his attorneys don't care about him. They are not interested in providing proper legal counsel to him, because regardless of what you people think, everyone deserves quality legal counsel. Because I have nothing to do with the law. However, I can take that number 5 and tear it apart. It says when he identified a woman or girl who he wished to see again, they had a witness who testified that she kept going up to R. Kelly herself, trying to get his attention, and he did not talk to her. However, he kept referring her to his entourage. So the defense could have taken this piece right here and torn it apart and proved it wrong, is my point. They could have done that. So I want to hear what some of you have to say about it. And if you want to come on the stream, I have about 10, 15 minutes where I can do that. And then I need to get out of here. You're saying stop comparing a meet and greet to a man. What are you talking about, Professor Truth? What do you mean stop comparing a meet and greet to a man? You need to be more specific with that. It doesn't make sense to me, because I didn't compare a meet and greet to a man. Let's see. So, no, Professor Truth, you are prejudiced. I'm just going to go ahead and say that with all due respect. You're prejudiced. You're very prejudgmental. And you're allowing that to interfere with what I'm trying to do. I have not compared a white man who molests a young black girl to anything and said that he needs therapy. So that statement is null and void, and I will not reply to it. I just will not. What I did was I said R. Kelly needs therapy, and he does need therapy because of the way that he was treated as a young man. And yeah, you're prejudiced, and I'm not reaching. So, and you need to show your face. If you're going to come on here, I will post the link, but let me know if you're going to show your face and talk, and not talk through a symbol or an alphabet. If you're going to do that, put that in the chat, and I will bring you on and we can chat. Reality Check TV, his brother allegedly has confirmed that he was molested by the sister, because even the brother was molested. So there's that. I mean, there's that. His brother has said that. Um, can someone please tell me? Okay, I think I'm going to look it up here because I don't know what that is. And if it's something vile, you're going to be blocked because you're not going to come on here and okay, so a pygmeisha, which is actually Pickmeisha, also commonly known as pick me, is a woman who is desperate to be picked by a man at all expense to her self-esteem and her well-being. Okay, that's what a pick me. I got that off of, all I did was I Googled pygmeisha is, and that's what it said. So that's what a pygmeisha is for those who are watching what some of the people in the chat are calling a pygmeisha. Who are you referring to as a pygmeisha? Who are you referring to as a pygmeisha? Okay, so now, okay, so okay, Coon, you're out. You call me thirsty and old. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Okay, you're not going to call me names. This is supposed to be a legitimate a legitimate professional conversation. So let's see here. Let's see who else is saying anything. That's interesting. Are you with Google or are you with the company I work for? You said no one is listening here, Indigo Dreams podcast. Are you with Google or are you with the company I work with? Because for you guys to come on here and not even have an intelligent conversation, so let's see. Who was it that, Professor, you wanted to? Professor, you are very prejudiced. You're very prejudiced and prejudgmental because you love to lump everyone into one basket and say everyone deserves the same treatment. And that's not always the case in law. In my humble opinion, there are some people who do need deep therapy. And R. Kelly is one of those people who needs therapy. I really think that he just did not have a healthy childhood. And as an adult, that creeped into his lifestyle. And it caused a lot of havoc on a lot of other people. And you have to wonder with these young women, because there are rumors that he also used to stand outside of a high school and a McDonald's and wait on young girls who were still school age. That's a sickness. I could never have been around anyone um, like that. So, if you are willing to come on and show your face, then I'm more than happy to drop the link so that you can do that. Let me see. I'm going to try to drop it now. I want to set this up as well. Let's see here. I don't know if this is going to work, but we will see if it's going to work. I think this is how you do it. I probably, let Let me just see. One moment. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. I've never had anyone come on board, so I want to make sure. You don't know what I'm qualified to do. Let's see here. It is very sad, Guyanese. It is all very sad. Anytime people go through these things, um, it's sad for him, and it's also sad for is the young women who knew no better. And we have to ask, where were their family members? Why are your children going from school to McDonald's? I mean, because they are saying that he used to stand outside of the McDonald's to pick up young high school girls. So why are they? Well, I am sad for him, Reality Check TV, and you're allowed not to be sad for him. I'm sad for him, and I am sad for the victims. So everyone doesn't have to feel the way that you feel. No one has to feel. That's a bully who tells someone they should feel the way that they should feel or else. And I don't feel the way that you feel about R. Kelly at this point. Um, even going through these first five um, this five part of the first part of the transcript in 2019, and I plan to go through all of it. I'm going to come back on Saturday morning, and I'm going to go over some more of the transcript because I want to know the whole thing. So when you were in high school, you went to high school, you went to McDonald's. You're missing the whole point. It's not about you. Come out of your mind. I'm saying, where were the parents? Where were the parents? I mean, after high school, I used to go straight to cheerleading practice. So I know that people don't always go straight home after school in high school. My brothers went to play football practice. I went straight to cheerleading practice. My mom picked me up at cheerleading practice. So if they were at the McDonald's, were their parents picking them up? How were they getting home after they left McDonald's? How long were they allowed to stay at McDonald's? The parents have to bear some responsibility for this. This was too many people. I think there's like 50, over 50 who testified allegedly. I haven't gotten to that part, but when I was on the channel of the lead attorney, that is what someone said, that over 50 young women had testified against him. My other concern about this case is, allegedly, Azriel Clary's family and the other young lady's family drove them hours to be in the studio with R. Kelly and to live with him. So they knew that these women were living there. So why are these young women now crying over this whole issue? Your parents drove you to live. I could never drive my daughter to be in the home of a grown man. I don't care what he did for a living. I just could not do that. So you're not saying it's about you. You're saying some kids go get something to eat after school. So you drove yourself home. Okay. So I understand that. I understand that. No one's blaming the kids. I'm asking, where were the parents? Your parents probably knew you were driving yourself home. I would not. There is no, you know what? But you know what? I'm a very hands-on mom. Even now, my kids have to tell me, you're calling me too much. I'm a very hands-on mom. I'm like almost, I'm borderline annoying. I am borderline annoying when it comes to momhood. I just, this is not a good place. This is no place that anyone wants to be in life, where you have had someone take advantage of the most important possession of your physicality They've taken another man has taken advantage of that, and you have to live the rest of your life dealing with that issue. And not only dealing with it, but it's not hidden. It is not hidden because the man who took advantage of you is a famous person. And now everyone knows, and it's always going to be what you're known for. So that's not easy. That is not easy. Yes, you have to be with your kids. I agree with you, Guyanese, number two, because even back then, as I was raising my kids, and they're late 20s, early 30s now, even back then, I felt like parents needed to be more responsible for their children. So it's not even just a nowadays, that's just as a parent. You need to be responsible for your children. If you are a mother and you're driving your 18-year-old daughter, your daughter who's under 21, to see another grown man and to be with him for days, because why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I'm just trying to grasp that. I don't even want to grasp it because it would mean I am a different person. If I can understand that, I'm a different person, and I don't want to be a different person. I don't want to be in that mindset. In the mindset that I'm in, you drove your daughter to be with a grown a man for months. What was your purpose in doing that? How could you do that to your baby? That's your baby. That's your daughter. How can you just sell your daughter out like that? That's crazy to me. That's the most crazy a shish. That's crazy. That mama. And I don't know if the parents will be considered as a part of this. I know that over on the lead attorney's channel, people were saying the parents should not be responsible. I disagree. I completely disagree. If you drove your daughter there as a grown woman, you need to be responsible. You need to do some time. You need to do some time in behind bars for doing that. Because you drove her there voluntarily. You put her in that predicament. You need to be arrested. That's, to me, that's the only justice for the parents who did that. So is there anyone who wants me to drop the link and come aboard? I'm trying to ask a question here and I cannot get it. Let's see here. Let me see if this will. Okay, here it comes. Just one moment. Let me see if I can drop this in the chat here. Just bear with me, you guys, because some people said they wanted to come in. Okay, so I'm going to wait for them to let me know what to do about this because I tried to drop it earlier and it didn't work just now. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how you do this. One moment. Okay, they're telling me how to do this. Okay, I think this is the link. No, I want to know how to do it. I don't want you to provide me. Okay. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm getting quiet. I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. I know that you're typing a lot in the chat, but I want to bring people on board to have the conversation. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I see. Okay. I can't believe I didn't see this before. This is like crazy. Okay. So I'm going to send this to you. I think this is it. Okay, I think this is it, you guys. Okay, there's the link. If you want to come on, let me know and I will bring you on to talk. But because I have not done this before, and I want to be sure because I have some trust issues about this process of sharing streaming. So I want you to at least show your face, one time, and then in the future you will not have to show it again. But the first time I do want people to show their face. So I have dropped the link in the chat if you are interested in coming on and discussing the R. Kelly case. If not, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Okay, this is someone showing their face. Okay. Um, are you going to be on video, anti-Black trauma? Are you going to be on video? Let me know, because when I say show you, like, this is my face. I know it looks like this is what I look like, what you're seeing. You can go back and look at my previous videos and you'll see whenever I'm doing my videos uh, without this avatar of me, when I'm like there talking and in motion, you can see that it's me. So when you come on, I don't want you to do an avatar. I want you to be on camera talking, okay? So that's what I'm asking for those of you who are in the back room and you want to talk about it. And this says anti-Black trauma. I don't know what that means. Can you tell me in the chat what that means? Because I'm not anti-Black trauma. I need you. What does that mean? You guys, I have a trust issue about bringing people on board with me because I've seen it done on other streams where people have not been authentic. And I have not been here long enough. Plus, I have not done this in the past. So after tonight, maybe I'll be better at it. I only have like 5 more minutes here. It's 8:15 Eastern time, which is my time. And I don't know. I guess I could try to bring you. I'm going to go ahead and try to add you to the stream, anti-Black, okay? So let's just see. Oh my goodness, you guys. Hello?
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm actually getting ready because I'm in grad school right now and I have class in a little bit. So
Oh,
that's why I can't get on.
congratulations. I remember those
That's
days.
why I can't get on cam right now. But to answer your question about anti-Black trauma, I don't know many Black people who should be pro-Black trauma. I think it's important for us to be aware of it and to come up with different approaches and ways to address it. But I'm definitely not a fan of it per se.
Okay. So, can you define what pro-Black trauma is and what anti-Black
Clo-
trauma is?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So, what I consider pro-Black trauma are individuals who benefit from chaos in our community. A lot of times, that are people who are making a certain type of music that hypersexualizes people, or music that is extremely violent. At the same time, there are opportunities for us to tell real stories through music. I mean, not all stories are happy stories, and sometimes some of those stories can be very hard to watch. John Singleton was an amazing director who showed trauma in the Black community, but it wasn't designed to be voyeuristic. If you get what I'm saying.
I do.
So that's pretty much my perspective. And as a person who's worked in the mental health field, that's just my view on things. I feel like our community has a unique experience in this country. We do not have the immigrant experience. We were not immigrants. We were brought here against our will. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow, and we're now dealing with the light Jim Crow. So that's my philosophy. That's why I'm anti-Black trauma.
I love that philosophy. I love that philosophy. And thank you for sharing that with us. So what do you think? So do you believe that the R. Kelly case uh, furthers anti-Black trauma or pro-Black trauma? I'm sorry, not anti, but pro-Black trauma?
I would say R. Kelly's situation is very unfortunate for his victims. And of course, he was a victim first. This is not an uncommon experience for many people who have been sexually assaulted. The statistics show that many of them become offenders of some sort, not always become sexual offenders, but what they learn in a very early age is that boundaries don't really exist. The idea of innocence and things aren't wrong, and the idea of right and wrong can be very nebulous to people who have been violated as children. So was he definitely a victim? Absolutely. Does he need to be up under the jail? Absolutely.
Okay. So you think that the what he's being what the jail time fits the crimes that he
I don't
committed?
know about no life in prison. I
Hmm.
think a good 20 years is probably more appropriate. 15 to 20
Okay.
years is
Hmm.
the average sentence for a lot of people with multiple victims.
Hmm.
R. Kelly also has had multiple opportunities to get himself together. He got slapped on the wrist back in 2008. He really got slapped on the wrist when Aaliyah's mother allowed him to have sex with her daughter at age 14 and didn't really do much but take a check from him. So he's had lots of opportunities to turn himself around. But really, what it has done is embolden him because now he's never really been held accountable. You go to court, you spend a lot of money, sure, but until you're really doing some time, it's a completely different experience. And I know a lot of people like to liken his situation to Bill Cosby or Michael Jackson, God forbid. But
Hmm.
these are very different cases. And
Hmm.
R. Kelly's going down because he didn't want to stop having sex with underage girls. He did not want to stop, and he could have stopped. There's plenty of beautiful women who are, if
Hmm.
you're very interested, if you're a weird man who likes to have girls who are young enough to be your daughter, but they're legal, they exist. He has the money for it. R. Kelly is a very attractive man, even into his 50s. He looks like a very nice looking man.
I
He
agree.
didn't have to do this. It was his pathology that made him do this.
Exactly. Exactly. He has a pathology. And do you think that while he's in prison that they should also provide some deep uh, therapeutic analysis?
Well, to my understanding, he's going to federal prison. Um, and in federal prison, they typically have better resources altogether. If he was going to state, especially state of Illinois, I would say he wouldn't get any services. But R. Kelly was a multimillionaire. Just like he could have learned how to read, he could have gotten some therapy. Matter of
Yes,
fact, he could have had access to resources that I would have never been able to get access to resources. And I do pretty well for a person of my age and of my demographic. He could get the best of the best treatment if he wanted it. He didn't want it. He
so
wanted
you
young
think he
girls.
didn't want it. I wonder if he even thought about it.
Oh, it's been talked about multiple times. Even during interviews in the past, people have alluded to there being some that he would need to get some type of help. In fact, there's an interview, and you may have seen it already. It was some years ago, done by the Huff Post. A young Caucasian British woman, or maybe she was from Australia. Sometimes I get that accent confused.
Hmm.
But they actually did a live interview with R. Kelly and asked him some very vanilla questions. It was a very small, criticism of some of his behavior. And like a lot of people who are criminals, they immediately go on the attack.
Hmm.
They immediately go on the attack. I would actually like to send you that interview. But honestly, I feel like a lot of people have made their mind up on how they feel about the situation. And no changes in the circumstances of evidence is going to change their mind.
Hmm. So I one of the things about me, the reason I wasn't even going to cover this in my blog, but I had developed some very strong opinions myself, and I wanted
Okay.
to do some research because I noticed that a lot of people were uh, not thinking the same thing that I was. So I thought I want to make sure that I'm not headed in the wrong direction here in terms of the way I'm thinking because I'm so pro black, right? Sometimes I'm very overtly pro black and I'm thinking,
Right.
I don't want them to use another black man, but I also don't want him to get away with what he got with what he has done. And so that's also important to me as well.
And I
So
respect that approach.
mhm.
And honestly, see, here's the thing. Two things can be true. The government can target African Americans. They've been doing it since forever, since as long as they couldn't use our bodies for cheap labor. Then we became just the target of eradication, either overtly, like, murder, setting them up, or covertly,
Mhm.
giving them enough rope to hang themselves. What a horrible analogy, but it fits this conversation. But there's also criminals in our community. Not
Definitely.
everybody, not mostly everybody, but there are enough of them for us to not say anything. And going back to the topic of black trauma and getting this off of R. Kelly per se, there's a lot of molesters in our family, cousins,
Yes.
uncles that we look past. Now we make sure we get the gays out of the community. We make sure we get them out of there because God forbid we have those there. But our cousins, like my uncle, Uncle Douglas Wilson, he was allowed to molest all the girls and some little boys. And we just have to sit around him awkwardly, knowing what he's done. Well, I don't think that's okay. And I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who have stories like that. And it's
Yes, there
cross
are.
cultural. It's not just the black community, it's everyone. Everyone is kind of looking beyond the abusers and their family just to kind of get along. And I think
Mhm.
that's not only an unhealthy approach, we're helping these people hurt more people and continue the
Exactly.
cycle.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I certainly agree with you, and I thank you so much for coming on. You've taught me some things this
Sure.
evening, and I love learning. So I appreciate it. I'll let you go and get ready and come back and, like, subscribe, and, click the notifications because I love having these conversations with people, and it helps growth. It helps me to grow. So,
Absolutely. And just having different perspectives from different generations. I mean, for those of us who grew up not necessarily listening or going to the club with R. Kelly's music because I wasn't a part of that age group, but definitely hearing, I grew up in the era where they were singing I Believe I Can Fly at the graduation and Step in the Name of
yes.
Love at, every like
Yeah.
wedding and every like event. That R. Kelly is without a doubt a part of the black experience, especially now.
Yes.
But just like
Even
Moses.
mine. Even mine. Even mine. I have so many memories of whenever I listen to his songs. My husband and I, we just have so many memories, and we're like, I remember when they were first saying, well, they were saying mute R. Kelly, delete R. Kelly. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love that song. So
And
uh,
honestly, I made my decision to mute years ago, and I didn't make it a thing that I put online. And I don't like doing that. I feel like that's very cheap, and that actually takes away from what you're really allegedly you're trying to say with that action. But
mhm,
back in 2009, I had become 20 years old, and at that moment, I realized, you know what? I grew up listening to Aaliyah. I loved her. I thought she was an amazing artist, and not only because she was a good singer and she was pretty, but because she was a young teen who was able to manage a horrible beginning and still had a perfect grade point average. Went to school, tried to do the right thing. Her life was ended shortly, and this man was able to get away with having sex with her at a very young age.
I
So I took it
know.
upon myself. As much as I love Love Letter, I think that's one of the most beautiful R&B songs in the last 20 years. I don't play it. But
Yeah.
I'm getting in my car right now. I do appreciate the conversation. Have a good night.
Okay, you as well. Thank you. Well, you guys, that that really helped a lot with this process, and I'm going to go ahead, and if there's not anyone else who wants to come on board and share their thoughts, I'm going to go ahead and check out uh, and go ahead and head into my plans. I will be back on here again. I don't know what day next week, but I'm going to do a little more research and I want to go through the transcript a little more and talk about this R. Kelly case because um, not just for my own mind, but really to help the community who is willing to listen and to stop some of this, to stop some of um, what is going on in the Black community with men being, over sexualized, you know, um, because it's not good mentally for us to be that way. And we have a lot going on in the Black community. I mean, a lot. Just here, even in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the crimes that have taken place against the humanity of Black people, and this is Black on Black. It's just been terrible this year. It's been terrible. And we're in a pandemic, and you have the audacity to go take someone else's life. It's crazy. So we have got to do better. And I want to help in that process using this channel. On this channel, I also do other blogs such as Real Housewives. And I also do live Saturday morning coffee with Breezy. And I'll be back to do those things. But until then, I want to say to you many blessings and thank you for showing up. And before you go, please click the like, subscribe, and the notifications bell so you can get notifications about my channel and when I'm doing a video. Have a good evening.